How rich is Anthony Fauci? In today's video, we'll look at one of the most popular personalities in the post-pandemic era, the face of the United States' fight against COVID-19, Dr. Anthony Fauci, earning an annual salary that's more than that of the incumbent president, Joe Biden. But the story of the 81-year-old doctor's net worth, which runs into the millions, is much more interesting than that. Let us trace the dollar notes in Anthony Fauci's wallet. According to the watchdog group that's known for disclosing information about governmental finances, Fauci and his wife had a significant peak in their net worth during the COVID-19 pandemic. Reports state that the Fauci household had their net worth skyrocket by up to $5 million between 2019 and 2021. This was the time Dr. Anthony Fauci became a household name, with frequent briefings about the nation's fight against COVID-19 and the status of the vaccines. He became one of the most trusted sources of information about the pandemic with his live broadcasts, which were often quite awkward, with the media portraying Donald Trump, the then president, and his medical advisor, Anthony Fauci, as having quite opposite stances to the pandemic. The nonprofit Open the Books, which digs deep into the net worth and wealth of political figures, put the Fauci household's net worth at $12.6 million from the information that was available. However, it's quite hard to pinpoint a precise figure when personalities such as Fauci are concerned, since information about investments, dividend payouts, family businesses, side hustles, and more are only rarely disclosed. According to reports, the windfall gains in Dr. Fauci's wealth has to be an accumulation of his income, including his salary, federal employment compensation, investment gains, gifts, awards, and other perks. How has Fauci accumulated so much wealth over the years? What decisions in his life were definitive of his solid net worth of over $12 million? What were his other sources of income that supplemented his financial gains? And did his childhood and upbringing play a role in his distinguishable success? Stick around to find the answers to these questions. Anthony Fauci was born in 1940 to Stephen and Eugenia Fauci, a family that resided in Brooklyn, New York. Anthony Fauci grew up in Brooklyn with his parents who owned a pharmacy in the neighborhood, with their regular family business being their main source of income. Anthony Fauci attended Regis High School in northeastern Manhattan, where he graduated in 1958. His subsequent education took place in the College of the Holy Cross, earning him his BA in the classics and pre-med track. During his college years, Anthony would work his summer holidays on construction sites. He began his doctorate in medicine at the Medical College of Cornell. As reflective of his passion for medicine, he graduated at the top of his class, leading to his internship at New York Hospital Cornell Medical Center, which led him to the position of senior researcher for the NIH, National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease. Over the years at NIH, Fauci worked his way up in the organization, eventually receiving the directorial position in the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. It was during this time that he started his role as medical advisor for President Ronald Reagan and multiple subsequent presidents thereon. In 2020, he was asked to serve as the chief medical advisor to President Joe Biden, making Fauci the advisor to 6 U.S. presidents. Dr. Fauci has spent his career in the federal government, but with massive returns. Having worked for multiple presidents of the U.S. under the director of NIH, Dr. Fauci has been in the forefront of the country's management of the COVID-19 pandemic. With the general elections held in November 2022, Fauci has been put back into the limelight, with many Republicans criticizing his approach to the pandemic and alleging that he mismanaged the entire situation of the pandemic. Fauci says that he's open to any investigations and insists that the measures he'd taken in the country's fight against the virus was most appropriate. Fauci sees the Republicans criticizing his attempt at eliminating the virus as a political jab at science and his high profile in politics. This drama has raised many questions. What, if anything, is responsible for the significant peak in Fauci's net worth during the last 3 years? Dr. Anthony Fauci has worked in the government for over 55 years, and today he's the highest paid employee in the entire U.S. federal government. According to Forbes, which quotes information obtained from OpenTheBooks.com, Dr. Fauci, in 2019 alone, has made $417,000, which is even more than the salary of $400,000 the President of the United States makes. It's reported that between the years of 2010 to 2019, Fauci made a total of $3.6 million in salary. In an article published in 2021, it stated that since 2014, Dr. Fauci's pay increased from $335,000 to the current $417,608. Based on that piece of information, Forbes says that Dr. Fauci would make $2.5 million from 2019 through 2024, assuming he continues as the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases and as the chief medical advisor to the president without any raise. Dr. Fauci has held his position as medical advisor for the president for a long time. He has served every president since Ronald Reagan, working under the NIH director, Dr. Francis Collins. Despite having been offered the position of NIH director on several occasions, Dr. Fauci has turned down the job each time. He's known as the nation's top infectious disease expert, qualifying him for a full federal pension and Social Security under the 1984 federal pension reform rules. After having served as a government bureaucrat for more than 55 years, Dr. Fauci recently announced that he plans to step down from his role as director and president's advisor this December. He says that even though he steps down, it wouldn't be a retirement in the classic sense, as he plans to continue his service in non-governmental realms. But that isn't the end of it. After having earned an expected federal salary of $480,000, outgoing chief medical advisor of the president, Dr. Fauci, would receive an estimated retirement pension of $414,000, which would interestingly still be greater than the president's salary of $400,000, according to Open the Books. The peak in Fauci's net worth during the past few years, according to Open the Books CEO Adam Andrzejewski, as he told Fox News, was based on career and salary spiking, lucrative cash prizes awarded by nonprofit organizations around the world, and an even larger investment portfolio. He goes on to say that despite becoming a figure of controversy, the system has rewarded Dr. Fauci handsomely, and rightly so. He's not only the top paid federal servant, his first-year golden parachute retirement pension is the largest in federal history. Fauci has been awarded by multiple nonprofits for his service, and it constitutes a decent sum of money to keep us looking for spikes in his net worth, even years into his retirement. In 2021 alone, Fauci had his government income supplemented by nearly $1 million worth of prizes from nonprofits across the globe. The Dan David Foundation, based in Israel, awarded $901,000 for speaking truth to power and defending science during the Trump administration. Fauci going into retirement would also mean that he gets to reap the fruits of much of his investments. According to investigations in 2021, Fauci's investments are said to have been pooled to multiple mutual funds, stocks, and bonds that are reported to have a return of a $794,000 gain in 2020. According to Forbes, Dr. Fauci's investments add up to around $8.4 million, and that's excluding his wife's investments, which totaled another $2.1 million. In 2021 alone, the total federal income of $903,000, perks and benefits, outside awards, and royalties of more than $1 million, investment gains of $910,000, and unrealized investment gains totaled $2,832,876. Working for the publisher McGraw-Hill, Fauci has a side hustle as an editor that earns him an estimated amount between $100,000 and $1 million. On a political standpoint, Anthony Fauci's services have been both criticized and admired by many. In addition to the millions he accepts from nonprofit organizations as prizes, in 2008, Dr. Fauci was awarded the Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian honor by then-President George W. Bush. His service during the COVID-19 pandemic and even his role in research on AIDS infection are highly regarded by the citizens of the USA. Some of Fauci's neighbors are said to have pitched signboards on their lawns to thank him for his role in managing the pandemic. Fauci's been quick to accept the compliments and admiration he receives from his service and says that he draws inspiration from knowing that he's helping millions of Americans with his day-to-day decisions in office. Approaching the end of his career in the federal government, Dr. Fauci says that he looks forward to continuing his work even outside the realm of the federal government. Despite being a controversial figure, Fauci easily qualifies himself as a genius in the financial realm, with a solid net worth that runs into the millions.